few weeks ago, we brought you the first installment of Live Action's disturbing undercover video series into Planned Parenthood, and today another video was released. Now, in the latest episode, a 15-year-old girl seeks out sexual advice about experimenting with her boyfriend from a Littleton, Colorado Planned Parenthood office. We got to warn you, what you're about to see and hear is very graphic. Take a watch.
You mentioned that book, 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah. So I think it's like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's similar to like bondage.
Okay.
That would be what it is. Again, with those, you just want to be safe. You want to have a safe word because there can be like tying up and gagging involved, and if something's hurting you and you can't communicate that, you could end up, injured in some way. So a lot of couples will have a safe word. Like if I say this word, like if I say dog, then that means everything is stopped. Have you guys ever gone to a sex shop together?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
There's tons of sex shops around here.
Oh, really?
That's where they carry different outfits. Like if you want to go with like a teacher or a nurse, they have outfits. They have whips, ties, everything.
All right, here now with much more is the president and founder of Live Action, Lila Rose, is with us. Lila, welcome back. Although, I wish under different circumstances. Did I just hear this correctly? If a person says stop, the counselor says, well, using a word like stop, people get mixed up. Doesn't stop mean stop?
It should always mean stop. I mean, we have an issue in our country where 1 out of every 4 women say they experience some kind of sexual assault. And this is a Planned Parenthood worker telling a vulnerable teen girl that no doesn't mean no in sexual situations, and she shouldn't expect it to. Right, and that she should have this so-called safe word. I mean, it's crazy counseling for a vulnerable girl.
Can I understand this? Now, we give, what, $500 million to Planned Parenthood tax dollars every year? That's about the number, 500 million? All right.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to understand. So this girl's 15 years old, identifies herself as a 15-year-old, and she's getting, bondage and S&M and asphyxiation and tying up and whipping. What gives this Planned Parenthood, quote, counselor a right to circumvent a parent's values and what a parent would want to instill in their kids? I don't think any parent wants their kid, 15-year-old daughter, learning about asphyxiation and getting whipped.
Yeah, and that's the normal response, Sean, but we've given power over to Planned Parenthood because we give them over $500 million a year in taxpayer money. They claim to be the leading sex educator for teenagers in our country. In our school systems, they have their tentacles. They've created relationships with our schools to get in there and teach not just teenagers, but even grade school kids. So we're the ones who are allowing this, and that's why we're calling on not just Congress to defund them, but on people at the local level to get involved, because we should not be trusting our kids with this organization.
Now, there was another case also in Colorado where a 13-year-old girl got an abortion at Planned Parenthood, and then she walked in with an older man, her stepdad.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaking story.
Tell the story.
The case just came out 3 weeks ago. The lawsuit was filed in late June. This girl was sexually abused for years by her stepfather, and her mother wasn't aware of it. She became pregnant at the age of 13. The stepdad took her into a Planned Parenthood in Denver, had the abortion. 4 different Planned Parenthood so-called health professionals engaged with them. He even filled out part of the paperwork for her. They clearly had different last names, and not a single one of them reported the sexual abuse or looped in the mother, breaking state statute in the state of Denver.
How does a 13-year-old get an abortion without parental consent, and some guy that likely got her pregnant gets to sign the papers?
It's a great question, Sean. Well, it happens because first of all, Planned Parenthood regularly denies reporting laws. They refuse to follow them, or they fight against them in the legislatures. They rubber stamp, or they try to ignore the parental consent part of this, because their interest is not protecting these girls. Their interest is abortion, and then pushing a sexual ideology, a sexology that's very destructive and dangerous on our teenagers. I mean, they're killing over 320,000 children a year at Planned Parenthood in our country. So should we be surprised that this is the way that they're treating young girls, and they're covering up sexual abuse and pushing dangerous sexual practices of girls?
Lila, great work again. We'll continue to follow these investigations of yours. Thank you so much for being with us. Coming up, my next guests are from the pro-life group called Created Equal, and last week, while expressing their First Amendment rights in downtown Columbus, Ohio, they were viciously attacked. All of this was caught on tape, and it's yet another video you have to see to believe. Again, we've got to warn you, this is very graphic.
That is not what a penis looks like, okay? It's a clip of cells at 12 weeks. It does not look like that. It's a clip of cells. No hands are shown for that.
I'm calling the police right now.
What you are is a racist mother as well. How dare you do this kind of You don't give a about women. You don't give a about life. All you are just a bunch of
All right, here to explain what you just witnessed in that video from Created Equal, Seth Dreyer and Mark Harrington. Seth, I guess it's self-evident. Were any charges filed in that, assault charges?
Yeah, there are charges waiting. The arraignment is actually this week. But Sean, it was just a normal day downtown. Create Equal, we train students to present the case for life in the public square with the apologetics, showing the victims of abortion visually. And then she approached and started yelling at our intern, and that's why I approached the film to document what happened before she then verbally and physically attacked me as well.
Well, Mark, how is it that this argument devolves into you don't give a bleep about women? Because that's kind of what the left does with this argument. If you're against abortion or government-funded birth control, somehow that's part of a war on women. And she seems to echo that narrative.
Right, well, it's called an ad hominem logical fallacy, and that is that genders don't have arguments, people do, and our argument will rise and fall based on the merits of our position. And obviously, she took this personally, and we teach our people, Sean, to try to diffuse these types of confrontations,
That kid did nothing wrong. He just stood there. He didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, in this case, she went over the top.
Why do you think that it always is reduced to war on women, you're racist, you're this, you're that? Why do you think it goes down to that level?
I think it's because they've lost the argument, and they really don't know where else to turn other than to try to shout us down and get angry about it. And again, we are a nonviolent, passive resistance organization. We try to teach our people to diffuse these situations. We win some ambassadors. You saw that on the video. We believe in forgiveness. Both Seth and I are Christians. We've already forgiven her, but on the other hand, if she doesn't apologize, we're going to continue to press these charges, and we'll see where it goes from there.
All right, guys, thank you both, and we appreciate it. I think people need to be aware of what's going on out there in the streets. And when we come back, this rookie New Jersey